Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the G.O.A.T Farm Show. The show is by the players for the people, and I'm your host, Darren Rencher. Today, join my really good guest, newly coming here to Atlanta, two-time Pro Bowler by way of BC and the Denver Broncos. Welcome, fellow light skin, Justin Simmons.
Man,
what up?
Can't hate on that.
What up? We gotta go.
I didn't want to mess up the mic.
Nah, we good. How you living, bro?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Getting used to the the traffic, and the food, but blessings. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Shout out to the food. Also, we started this conversation. If y'all know any good Atlanta soul food spots or seafood, steakhouses. I mean, you got steakhouse, but yeah, steakhouse is good too. Seafood. And soul food. Let us know what spots he needs to go to, because you in the heart of it, bro.
Yeah.
This is like you in the heart of the South.
And I gotta enjoy it. I haven't really been in the A like that, so yeah, I need all the food recs, places, spots, hole in the walls. Send them my way.
I'm curious too. Before we get into some stuff, music wise, who you listen to?
My all-time favorite.
I'm sure you got Atlanta people in it. 'Cause you know you in the epicenter.
I felt like I needed to say Jeezy like right off the rip. Yeah, you know what I mean. I like Jeezy, but growing up I listened to a lot of Lecrae.
Mm-hmm. Great.
That's my guy. And then
from there,
yeah, more J. Cole's my guy.
Sure.
I'm a J. Cole guy.
Why you playing though? Y'all kind of a smidgen.
Nah, stop.
A smidgen.
That's that light skin. He's all light skins looking like.
Cole forever. He goated.
That's my guy, man. I think personally, I like how he raps about like real life
substance.
That's it. You know what I mean? Not everything's money, sex, drugs. So yeah, that's my guy.
Shout out to Cole. And shout out to Jeezy. Come on.
Jeezy.
How does it feel to be here? Obviously, offseason probably was uncertain. And then how did it feel to land here?
It was wild. You know, my wife and I and like our close circle, man, we were really intentional and prayerful about where we wanted to end up and where we felt like the Lord was calling us to go to. So, like I said, man, we were being super intentional about it. Wanted to go somewhere where obviously the team had a chance to win, right? Yeah. And then secondly, where we felt valued, you know, not just going somewhere, you know, just to be there.
Yeah.
And so Atlanta was always on the scope, and they had a lot of good things going. They have really good players all across the board, and obviously in free agency with Kirk and Mooney and a few others, and then really what we were already in talks, but then when Judon signed,
I know,
you know, we signed the next day, but it was like, oh yeah, they got an elite rusher. That's like love in the secondary. You need that. So it was no brainer after that.
Yeah, I feel like this offseason for the Falcons. I mean, brother, the Falcons have a loyal fan base. It's been hard times in the A.
Yeah.
And I'm like from the South, I kind of float between the Panthers or Falcons just because I grew up in the area. But like Falcons gonna ride or die. They're gonna ride every year. But this year, it just seems like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like the energy, the expectation, obviously what y'all did in the offseason. How you feel about the team?
Man, I'm excited. And I think Kirk and Ra and you know, a few other guys really hit it on the head, man. Like the city should be excited, right? Like there should be excitement. You know, I think I heard or was reading that you know, tickets are sold out this year. That hasn't happened in a while. Like, so the city should be excited, man. There's a lot to be excited about. There's gonna be some really good football play, but we also have to earn the right for the city to be excited, right? Like so you can't come in there and you know, start losing games and losing obviously the important games, you know, in the NFC and things like that. So like we also have to earn that right, you know, for fans to get excited. You know, we can't just think you putting names on a paper and all of a sudden you're going to win football games. It's not how it works. And so, you know, guys we're putting in the work though, and you know, we're figuring it out. But fans should be excited, but at the same time, man, we're going to make sure that we earn that from them. Yeah,
and the Falcons, I've been to a couple of Falcons games, and they're going to try every year to just bring like the city out. You might have Luda doing something, little baby here. This if any city to turn it up in though, like full-fledged, if y'all do what the expectation is, bro, I feel like it's going to be probably like, it might be one of the probably the funnest place to play it. I would think as a player though, just to see the crowd interaction, the city get behind you.
Right.
I'm curious, give me first interactions with a couple guys. Cause like you joined the team.
Yeah.
Now you're a vet. Like I feel like you've been around, you've seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
First interaction with Kirk. You probably played against him, I'm assuming, a couple times.
Yeah. So I've seen him a few times, and there's this like off season how do I explain it? There's like an off-season event that's always put on, and I'll see him there
like
every
a retreat?
now and then. Yeah, it's like a retreat pretty much. And I'll see him there, and you know, there's been times that we talked, but first time officially, outside of like him welcoming me to the team, we sat down for dinner, and we were just talking ball, and he's spitballing when the last time we played each other. I don't even remember the year, maybe 2018, 2019. Wow. Yeah. We would have played him last year, but he was hurt. And that's when Dobbs stepped in for them. But he was just talking about ball. And when we played them in Minnesota, we were up 20-0 at halftime. Then they had that comeback. I think we ended up losing 27-20. But it was a crazy game. And he was just talking about all the things that we did well on defense and what was hard for him to read. And it's just crazy the mind that quarterbacks have.
They never forget, because they you prep so hard, you can just go back to that same instance, play, down, distance.
It's crazy. That's why he's elite, right? Like every single play, he's like, yeah, that one play you guys did this, and you were holding the shell, but then you really went here, and that was tough for us because Diggs had this route, and I'm like, I don't even remember what play we were in.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. But that was like the first interaction with him. You just tell like, genuine dude, like just one of the guys in the locker room, and he's just a great guy.
And he won me over. Like funny enough, my SID at Clemson was his SID for the Commanders. We had that legendary moment, like in the locker room. So I saw that every time they were doing like media training. It was like, if you want to control the narrative, be like Kirk Cousins. So knew him from that. But low key, he won me over with the quarterback series, like the stuff on Netflix. I don't know if you saw Netflix. It was him, Pat, and then Marcus Mariota. Yeah. And I was like, Kirk, all right. You know what I'm saying? Over the years, you saw the chains, like him getting the chain. But he just seemed like a cool dude about his business. And then I think, like, to me, like, obviously, you need a quarterback to – obviously got Penix, young guy, very talented. But it does help to have a vet like him to lean on. And I know he wants to finish his career off to kind of check some boxes he probably hadn't checked yet. Which would be exciting.
Nah, 1,000%. And that, that was also a part. I said that in a press conference, man. That was part of the decision too. Is like, and part of being valued is going to a spot where the team is hungry. And I went to dinner with Grady, Jesse, and AJ, and was just kind of asking them like, yo, like, what's the culture? What's the environment like here? Like, I know last year was tough, and the last few years, I think 7-10, 3 years in a row. Yeah. And those guys were like in close games. Like last year, they were explaining to me like 5 out of their 10 losses were like literally last second losses. Yeah. So you flip that around.
Right. You 12 and whatever.
And probably winning the division, and if not, you're definitely in the playoffs. For right. Sure. So the hunger there for them is there though. You know what I mean? They just feel like they're missing a few key pieces. They got those pieces, and now, with or without, they're gonna make this thing happen. So that was part of it too. Obviously Kirk being a big part of that, but the quarterback series though was dope, man. I think I appreciate stuff like that because, and you understand this, man, playing ball, like sometimes you just get caught up in only what the media and like social media wants you to see, right? Correct. And so it's cool seeing the everyday interactions with them because it gives you a little bit of insight on their life. Like I also gained a lot of respect for Mariota. Correct. And
just being a journeyman,
bro. And I mean, in the middle of the season, dealing with those hardships, being told that, hey, we're kind of giving the spot to the other guy and and watching him kind of navigate that and still being okay with like, you can put all that on the show, right? Yeah. Like that's vulnerable.
Correct.
All those things is cool.
No, it is. I think to me, even this show, stuff like this is like hopefully to show people, fans, supporters, like another side of people, or more so the truest side of like what it looks like to go through days, or what moments, like from your perspective, that people remember, even like talking about other players. Because like sometimes obviously guys have good raps. I mean, sometimes guys don't have a good narrative, and sometimes you need spaces like this to like to showcase that. Yeah, you hit on the secondary, like a couple of the guys, because I feel like that's probably one of the more exciting things about this defense. You got obviously Grady and Matt up front, but then to me, you, Jesse, AJ, and whoever the other piece would be, like, how you feel about the secondary?
Yeah, man. It was another big part of like the decision, right? Is obviously knowing that like being a really good player and knowing the workload that's going to be asked of you, but also wanting to make sure you're going to a spot where you can rely on other guys to make plays too, right? And so I mean, Jesse being, one of the best safeties in the league. AJ, I mean, watching his film, man, I feel like he's so underappreciated. Maybe not in the A, but
I agree though. But
like in general, just for what he does and how he's done it
as a pro,
it's and just an underappreciated guy, like a top corner, no doubt. And like I said, I think people here realize that, but because Atlanta doesn't get as much, the Falcons in recent years hasn't gotten as much notoriety in terms of the national media.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like under the rug, like swept under the rug type of thing, right? I think Mike is a heck of a corner, Mike Hughes, and what he can do, and D. Alford is playing the nickel, and there's veteran presence in there too. We call him Unk, and we're in the same year, so I was just thinking about that. We call him Unk, but my boy Ham, he's been around for a couple teams, knows ball really well. Like you're talking about leadership and kind of giving wisdom to some of the younger guys in the room. Yeah, you know you can't replace stuff like that. Correct. And so for me, man, coming into an environment like this where I could just be myself. There's already leadership established. Yeah. I'm just gonna find ways to contribute at the highest level like I have in my career, and just find ways to plug in and elevate the team and multiply that, right? For sure. Like not just for me, but for the guys that are younger and learning and figuring things out. Like in the same way that vets took care of me, it's 100%. My responsibility, snowball effect, pay it forward to do the same thing.
I know you obviously, we ain't made as many plays yet, so I want to get into your career, but tell me about, like, you're a vet. I feel like you know what offensive guys are like, when they're serious, when they're not. Like, how do you feel about the young talent y'all have, especially with Bijan, Drake, Kyle Pitts? Yeah. Like, what do you see that, like, excites you?
Yeah, man. Watching them, I can remember last year even, and I know it wasn't a great year, for the team, but I remember even watching them last year, man. Like, especially Bijan and Drake, right? Like watching those two guys. Some guys you just watch and you're like, yeah, he has it. Whatever you want to, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Whatever you want to label it as, Bijan has it. Like, the wiggle, the vision, everything about like his running style is just, it's just it.
It just looks like how it's supposed to be done. Yeah. Like it just looks fluid and yeah, you're nice.
We're going to get you to football. Yeah. Some way, somehow. And it's not just handoffs. It's like we'll find creative ways to get you the ball in space because you can make something happen, right? Correct. Drake, same thing. Like, we're going to put you in motions, like, so they can't always jam you, right? Yeah. Even though you can get off jams, a bigger receiver. Like, we're going to find ways to do that. Now, we got a speed guy, Mooney. So, like, most times you're going to have some type of protector over the top because my man can run away from you.
He can fly.
And so, adding pieces like that. But then even KP, like, and this is no knock on previous quarterbacks or anything like that, but I always tell guys, man, sometimes it just takes everything to click in order for you to be able to elevate your game too, right? Like, we know
to showcase what you can do.
We know Kyle is elite. Like, that was shown at Florida. Like, you don't go first round without being the elite. Tangibles to be elite, right? And so, and like I said, no knock on the previous guys that have been here or, coordinators or anything like that. Not that I would know anyway, but sometimes, man, it just takes, like, maybe Kirk was the guy that he needed, right? Kirk's played with great tight ends throughout his career, right? Knows what can be motivating, knows exactly what maybe guys need to hear. So I think Kyle has shown flashes of that. And now that he has like a stable, like, soundboard-ish, with Kirk and obviously with Mike, he'll be able, I think he's just going to be able to flourish. And I think you're going to see that this year, with him too.
For sure. Speaking of like just skilled players, from your experience, who have been your toughest covers? Like, who do you respect the most? Because I guess you covering the top, but maybe go receivers first.
Yeah, receivers. It has to be Tyreek Hill, and the number one reason is because you just can't teach speed. Like JJ has amazing catch radius, like insane route running, right? Jamar, same thing. Like CD, like the top guys, like AJ Brown, like these guys are elite receivers, no doubt about it. You can make an argument for number one all across the board, but for me, like that speed is just you can't. Like if he beats you, you're beat. There's no recovering. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you do?
Those types of guys.
Like, what's your mindset? You because I guess you can't backpedal too much. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep everything in front of you. But like,
you would think it's like, okay, I gotta open up quicker. But he's so quick about breaking his routes off too, right? Like, it's hard, man. It's hard to cover speed like that, and that's why it was even more impressive. Like, you got to give guys their flowers like Snead, when he was with the Chiefs and what they were able to do defensively last year.
Yeah.
And, locking up got people in Miami, San Fran, like when they were playing ball, it's impressive because I've been there and I've seen it, and it's not that easy to do.
Yeah.
You're telling a guy to put on an island with one of the fastest receivers in the league and running step by step and, jamming them at the line of scrimmage. Like, those things are hard to do. But to answer your question, it's Tyreek Hill. Like, the speed alone is just,
it's different.
It's the real deal. Yeah, it's the real deal.
When you go into a season, are you a personal goals type of guy?
Yeah.
I don't know, because some guys be like, I'm all, because you got to be team.
Yeah.
But how do you approach the season?
Yeah, so
even approaching this season in particular.
Yeah, so every year, like I always let OTAs and training camp ride out, and then right around this time, like now with only it being 3 preseason games, you have like this upcoming weekend is like our mini bye before next week we get into week 1, right? So I spend that time just reflecting. Like I go back and look at my last year's goals, look at how those played out.
Yeah.
I think about some challenges or some things that might approach this year, and I'll write down goals. Obviously, I'll write down football-specific goals like tackles, picks, PBUs, forced fumbles, right? But then also like leadership, team-specific goals, right? So, like this year, I know one of them will be like, we want to win the NFC South, right? And then we want to be NFC champs, and like these are goals that I'm gonna have like written down and just like look at them constantly, take a screenshot, have it on my phone, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But teammate goals, right? Like, man, I want to invest into 2 guys specifically, like check up on them throughout the year, watch extra film with them, offense or defense, like just maybe I'll help them grow, maybe they'll help me grow.
For sure.
Like things like that, man. So I just think like, and because you were saying it, like I think writing things down and looking at them every day, I think it truly makes a difference.
Keeps it at the forefront of your mind.
It does. I really think so.
I agree. And what would you say as you get into like, is anything about the NFC South like excite you? Any teams? Because I guess how many teams have you played against? You've been playing against everybody the past couple of years in the NFC South.
Yeah, I played every team, and I've played in every stadium since I've been in the league.
Oh, word. So I guess it ain't too new.
Yeah.
Sometimes you guys will go different divisions, and it's like I ain't played this team in forever.
Yeah, I haven't played them in a while. Yeah. Right. So I haven't played. I played Carolina like 2 years ago. I played Tampa. I think the last time I played Tampa was Brady's last year. Actually, it was COVID year because I remember there was no fans in the stands.
That was crazy.
So the year they won it.
Yeah.
And then, I played Atlanta COVID year because Mercedes-Benz was empty. That was weird. And then New Orleans was also, it would have been COVID year when we played the NFC South. And we played New Orleans at home during COVID. Yeah. And that was the famous we didn't have a quarterback game.
Oh, yeah.
And we put my man Kendall Hinton, shout out to
that was a hell of a memory, though. I ain't gonna lie. That game was legendary.
That was the wildest game I've ever
How'd you
played
feel? Obviously, you couldn't do nothing. You on the defensive side. Like, what were you just praying and hoping?
Yeah, man. I mean, the people got to know. We went into that game saying, like, all right, we got an opportunity here. Like, we're playing the game. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're playing the game. We got an opportunity, man. Let's go shock the world. Like, really buying into that, though. Like, we can do this. We can make this happen. But as soon as they score, so the second, like, midway through the second quarter, 0-0. So we're like, we still got a chance. Like, we just got to get some. We knew we were going to have to get some takeaways. The ball's going to have to roll our way. As soon as they scored, we went back to the bench on the sideline. We were just like, yeah, it's over. Like low key and no disrespect, to our guys, but it's
they get a pick six or something.
Man, bro, Kendall, man. I mean, he had Marshawn Lattimore. At that time, it was Janoris Jenkins, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, Marcus Williams. I mean, all they had to do was play cover zero. Like,
right. Let them just let you.
You had 2 all Pro Bowl corners.
Yeah.
A Pro Bowl safety, an all-world linebacker, all-world D-line. Yeah. I mean, come on, bro. What? There's only so much.
He felt his bad coaching.
Bro, what? There's only so much we could ask of him, man. Like that was hard. That was a tough game, man. That was a tough game.
Yeah, but it definitely legendary memory. I want to ask you about this before we get into your career, because today is cut day.
Yeah.
And obviously, as a vet, you didn't been through it, seen it. What is that like as an NFL player?
Yeah, man. Today, we talked about it briefly, just a little bit even to your journey, right? Yeah. Like today, in my opinion, is like the worst day. in the NFL. And it's weird because a lot of fans out there, they would say today-ish, like around this time is the best time, right? Because preseason's done.
Right, it's time to ramp it up.
Rosters are getting finalized, and it's like, okay, I know who's on the team. There's waiver wires, trades happening. But today specifically, but in general this weekend has to be the worst, man, because guys that you maybe have been on the team with for the last 3 years can just like be up and gone. Families up and gone.
Right.
Guys that like worked really hard and, you thought had a chance, like all of a sudden they get cut and they're gone. But the biggest thing is a lot of guys didn't even realize it, but that third preseason game was the last time they'll play football.
Just crazy.
Which is crazy to think about, right? Because you're out here like, I'm fighting for a roster spot. I've played football all my life, and then you never think that truly could be your last time playing ball. Right. And that's what's sad, man, because it's at the end of the day, it's a business, and there's only 53 guys on the team. Then you add the 11, 12, whatever the new rules is for P Squad, right? But that's it,
right?
And a lot of guys have to get. I think like rosters are at like in the 90s, during camp to start.
And now they changed the rules, so everybody's getting cut at once.
All at once.
Yeah,
it used to be trickled down.
I know.
And now it's all at once. It's tough, man, because like it means so much to a lot of guys, and it's emotional, And so you just feel for guys that put in the work but just still fall short. And sometimes it's a numbers game.
Right. It's like and political, and sometimes it's just
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's tough.
It's tough, man.
It is tough. Kind of switching maybe to like a brighter spot. Just how do you feel overall about your time in Denver?
I loved my time in Denver, man. I'm thankful. The first thing that I thought of when you said that was like, man, I was disappointed just because I spent 8 years there. My first 8 years. I'm going into year 9 now, but I spent my 8 years there, and man, Denver was like a world-class organization. I mean, like winning, community service. Like the Denver Broncos were like one of the elite teams in the NFL, right? And then, ever since the Super Bowl when they won, I came in. We went, I think it was 9-7, and we just missed the wild card spot, right? So we didn't make it to the playoffs. But ever since then, we haven't hit 500 in the next 7 years, right? And so my biggest like regret, if I had any, was my promise going back and looking at like press conferences and stuff was like, man, we're gonna get back to the postseason. Like, we're doing this the right way. We're gonna figure it out. And it was just tough, man. There's just a lot of things that you can't control, and it just makes it tough. But overall, man, I'll forever have love in my heart for Broncos country.
Yeah.
And the team and my guys there, the relationships that you built,
for sure.
The ties that seem like they'll last a lifetime. I'm so thankful for my time there, man. I grew so much, I learned so much. So I always have love in my heart for Broncos country.
Yeah, that's dope. What would you say? Do you have a favorite memory from your time in Denver?
My all-time favorite memory. That's a good question. I will say, I'm gonna have to go with the first. I'm trying to stick with like the first thing that pops in my head, but I wanted to give that one a little bit more thought. I'm gonna say the block field goal kick against New Orleans was my favorite memory. New Orleans had just went down and scored.
Yeah.
So it was 23-23. They kicked the field goal, the extra point. They would have been up 1.
Right.
I block it. My boy Will Parks returns it. So we get 2 points. So we win the game 25-23. And the only reason I say that one, there's a bunch of cool memories like, picks at home, big time plays, big time wins. But I say that one because it was my rookie year, and it was the first play really where I did something that like helped our team win, like for real.
Like you belong.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I could do this. Yeah. And we won the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was important for me, confidence-wise.
For sure.
That'll always stick with me.
What do you feel like during your time there made you make that leap? Because so many guys get stuck in that, like, even if you're high drafted or not high drafted, you kind of get stuck in your potential.
Yeah.
And then only so many guys make that leap as you did to be a Pro Bowler, to be a captain. Like, what do you feel like was that for you? I
feel like I'll just speak for me, and then I'll go kind of off the general consensus, at least my opinion on it. For me, it was like, man, I'm just going to not overthink this. Like, I'm going to just do what I practice,
right,
and I'm going to just go make a play at the end of the day, right? And so trusting in my technique, trusting in my teammates, and just jumping over the line, blocking the kick. And that alone would have been enough, right? But then, the guys on the team, like Will returning it, the guys blocking, and we ended up winning, off that. Like that to me was like the clicking point of like, man, I feel like what would stop me a lot of the times was like fear of failure. You know what I mean? So once you kind of eliminate that, because it's the NFL, the guys on the other side of the ball get paid too. They're going to make their plays.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of being any position, but really a DB is like, man, everyone expects you to be perfect. Like no one can catch a ball on you. You can't give up a touchdown or it's the end of the world. But like, man, no fear. No, don't fear failure. Like go out there, man, and win your one-on-one matchup. Like go out there consistently, win your one-on-one matchup, and go make plays. Like you see something, man, trust it. Like trust your film study, trust your technique, trust your teammates, and just go make it happen. I feel like I didn't just like learn that. I was kind of taught that. Right. I had great vets in my room and they kind of showed me the way. But that to me is it, right? It's like the fear of failure. Like just throw that out your mind, because at some point your number's gonna get called in terms of like you're not playing anymore anyway. Cut day happens for everybody. Yeah. And so when it's all said and done, man, just leave it all on the table.
No, I love that. And like I said, I think a lot of guys get stuck in that. At every level of football, just like stuck in your head and really get domed up in a sense where you can't go out there and perform like you want to perform. Right. Something that, because you obviously articulated well, but I think you had higher expectations for how everything went in Denver. But then to me, y'all still had a lot of like legends on that team. Like what was it like playing with like guys like Von Miller? Obviously you had Russ for a little bit, a couple other guys that you played with.
Von is exactly as advertises himself. That's my guy though, man. Like Von's a heck of a dude. Like I got nothing but love for Von because of the person that he is and how he carries himself, right? Like Von is a Super Bowl MVP. Walking gold jacket right now, right? And the intentionality he had with his teammates and the type of person that he was, like he was just a great dude, man. Like inviting guys over to his house after wins for like, just like family victory celebration type things. You just wanted to do all like the little things to show guys that like, like this is who I am in a media standpoint, but like, man, we're teammates. Like we're out there on the field, like we're trying to win together, man. So like, let's be teammates. Like let's go do things together. Like,
and it's cool to have that come from the guy, because sometimes they always come from, which is good to come from everybody in the locker room, but it's always special when it comes from like the guy.
You're right. And I learned that, and I think Von I'm not gonna speak for him, but I feel like I know D Ware meant a lot to him, right? And so I feel like D Ware kind of, pass that off to him, right? And then he's passing that off to, like me and some other guys. Like that's what I mean though. Like you have good vets in the room that do things the right way and are playing high level ball. Like you said, man, it just means more coming from those guys. And so you want to be able to pass that down. Because at the end of the day, man, even though guys are on different teams, like the NFL's a brotherhood. Like it's our own fraternity. It's our own fraternity, right? And so you want to earn the right to make it in there, and then once you do, man, like we should always be taking care of each other, like looking out, giving game to the younger guys so that they can go make a name for themselves, right? And not worrying about this guy's coming in here to take my spot, this, that, and the other. Like, man, it should elevate your game if anything, right? Like you're teaching a young guy the ropes and he's picking it up, he's challenging you. All right, now it's time to raise your bar. Like let's see how that works, things like that. So I'm thankful for Von, man. Von's my guy. He's a great dude, man. I've always wished him nothing but the best ever since he left, and he won another Super Bowl. I know. Happy for him.
Yeah, legend. What was your experience with DeMarcus Ware?
He was great, man. I only was with him with 1 year, but he was a good dude too, man. And I was a rookie, so I got a bit of the rookie.
How much has Hazen changed?
A lot.
I know. I be hearing like asking guys, hey, what you doing for your like rookie duties?
A lot. It's changed a lot, which like, I don't have no bad blood for it. Like, I feel like you should earn your right, like anything, right? Like when you're in college and you go to a big time program or like big time D1 program, like you just gotta, like there's guys that have like been here, earned their spot. I mean, you just gotta earn it. You know what I mean? You don't just earn it by getting a little scholarship or just because you got drafted. Like, nah, man, you gotta earn this. Get up front, sing your song.
Yeah, exactly.
But D Ware was great, bro. Like, him too, you know, just like, I think for him, more so for me was just like watching him work was really cool, right? Like I didn't have too many interactions with him, you know, maybe on away trips when we're eating dinner and stuff, but watching how he took care of his body, watching how he practiced, watching how he did like after practice work, you know, things like that for me was like, those are the things I picked up on, right? So along with a few other guys, but that was important for me.
What'd you learn the most from like the adversity, like in Denver? Maybe like the most, like even with the Russell situation, just from your, I feel like you're very cerebral. Like I don't know, what'd you learn from that as you like as a leader, vet, and what do you take away from that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I think.
I'm just
approach it however you. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just thinking about all the things.
It's a lot of the pot.
You know, the number one thing I learned, man, is that kind of going through the processes, and this is gonna sound corny and maybe in some ways insensitive, but like, man, God is so good. And I think through that whole 8 years of like 5 different head coaches, 6 if you add an interim head coach, you know, 5 DCs, you know, we changed ownership, and there's just like, there's so much that went on behind closed doors, right? That, like I said, you just can't control. And I say God is good, man, because, you know, through that whole time, I had to learn to lean on him in new ways. And a lot of the times, you know, we know as athletes, high school, college, pro, doesn't matter. Like if you play sports, like a lot of the times in sports, it's almost like the American dream of like, man, if you want it, you can get it. You just got to go get it. Yeah. Like go grab it. Like go take the opportunity by the reins.
Reality
right?
though.
And so that situation in Denver, man, made me realize that like I can't control like anything outside my bubble, but I can control like my attitude, how I'm treating like the younger guys, like, you know, not being bitter, man, like showing up to work and trying to give my best in the best way that I can, right? And, you know, the coaches doing the same thing. Like they have to deal with all these things, right? And I'm getting the best version of my coaches, so they deserve to get the best version of me. And so all through that, man, I just learned like what real adversity like looked like, right? And in trying times. And, you know, as the leader, like getting up there, man, and, you know, not making excuses. Like we said we got to go out there and win, and, you know, we didn't find a way to win, and it always starts with leadership, right? And then it trickles down and finding ways to try and execute. But that's why like that playoff thing hurt me so bad, is because as a leader, I felt like it was on my shoulders to find a way to
trying to carry that burden,
try to get there. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that was tough, man. But they're heading in the right direction, and you know, I wish them nothing but the best, you know, moving forward.
That's dope. I'll ask you just because I mean, obviously you're a leader, so even amongst like you're like a leader on defense. What were your interactions with Russell? Because obviously the media says one thing, had friends that play with him. You know, what was your experience with Russell?
Yeah, I loved Russ, man, and I think guys just like operate. You got to think like Russ played in Seattle for what was it, 10, 11 years?
A minute.
Yeah, so
like
you get used to like a routine and the things that like have made you successful, like have worked for you, right? And you guys are asking. Like we asked him to come to Denver and to be that Russ. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that like are new to like, it's a new team, it's a new locker room, it's a new environment, right? So there's a lot of things that you have to learn. And then there's a lot of things where it's like, man, but I know this and I'm comfortable in this, right? And so I'm even going through that now, right? There's things that I did in Denver for 8 years that I'm comfortable doing. I'm in a new locker room now, you know? So like, you got to find ways to, and I learned a lot. I'm learning a lot now just through my interactions with Russ, like the things that he did that were great. Like, you know, being in the locker room, like talking to guys, like inviting them, like being in places, like just like loving on their teammates, right? Like just things like that, that's like breaking down the barriers of like, oh yeah, he is cool. Like, you know, we can't talk to him, right? And I even give props to Sierra too, man, because A-list celebrity, like everyone knows her. And I mean, she comes up, she's hanging out with the wives, she's giving, you know, the girls hugs. She's, her kids are playing with other, you know, guys' kids.
And it could easily be the other way.
It could be the other way. And it could easily be the other way, right? And so I got nothing but respect for them, man. And it didn't work out, you know, and, you know, we'll just call it exactly how it lies. And, you know, it didn't work out, and it wasn't in any way, you know, a match, and in a lot of ways just wasn't good in general. But I think that's not all on him either.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of things that we didn't do to help him, and we could have, and we just didn't get it done. But Russ as a player, I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then as a person, man, you're not gonna find many people better than him.
That's dope. Respect. That's my guy. Respect, bro. Respect. I think you. Fine, yeah, bro. I feel like that was a great way. I love how you articulated that. Talking about, I think, time at Denver was great. Like, I feel like that was all encapsulated. I mean, I don't know what else you would say. Like, I guess when you was there anything? How you feel about the weather? You like playing the cold? So last time I asked you about Denver.
Yeah, it used to bother me, bro. I got a quick story. I'll make it really quick. And so I'm from South Florida, from Stuart, Florida, and BC was like the only school that recruited me. So boop, go to BC, and my first snow practice. So at BC didn't have an indoor.
Yeah,
we only practiced in the stadium, and if it was nice, we would practice on like the little side soccer fields outside. And so snowing, so we had to practice in the indoor. The grass fields are trashed. It snowed so hard that from the 50 over, we practice, and then every 20 minutes, there would be a horn. On the other side, there'd be a snow plowing the field. That's how much snow is on the ground. Every 20 minutes, we would flip during practice for 2.5 hours, 2 hours, freezing cold in the snow. Freezing cold. Now, it could have not been that cold. I'm sure there was Boston kids that were like, oh, this is not cold. But I like South Florida kid, I'm like,
it's cold as hell.
I called my dad as soon as I got in the locker room. I said, I got to come home. I can't do this. Football is not for me.
What is it like playing? Because even in the league, you probably play some hella cold. What is it like? You do Vaseline? Like, what's your... Yeah. You doing the double socks?
No, I don't do the double socks. Now, for me, it's like... it's more of a mindset thing, not to be that guy, but
no, you that guy. You probably...
it's not to be that guy, but now it's just a mindset. So, but then also too, like, I mean, we get spoiled. Like, as soon as I get off the field, I got a big jacket.
Right.
They got chicken broth, hot chocolate, like things to keep. They got heated seats. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I got things to keep me warm. My helmet's warm. Yeah, when I'm out there, like, it might be cold, but then I come right back to the sideline and I got like all my stuff. I got my hand warmer.
Yeah.
I can't complain about that. You know, it's different in college. You don't always have all those things.
You don't. We had heat warmers. With the little
That's
seat.
about it though.
Yeah, then like we had like a blower. We had like a gasoline blower. It kind of was crazy, but
that's actually wild. That would be a Clemson thing.
Use it against BC.
I was about to say that's a Clemson thing. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna wear a hoodie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you gotta rock out.
You can't. You try to. Yeah, it took a long time to adjust to playing in the cold, but now like I low key love it.
It is a mindset because like some guys definitely like. You might shy a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
in the cold.
The contact is the worst part. Once you get that's the one where you really got to get that out of your system. Like you got to feel a hit or deliver one and just, all right, I'm good. Solid.
Talking about BC, how was your experience there?
I love BC, man. I hated it my first 2 years, in part because of the weather.
Yeah.
But once I found, just like anything, man, once I got comfortable, I found my group of friends. I found like a routine that worked for me. Man, I loved it. Right. I loved it, bro. Like going into the city, the train, we called it the T. It was a train ride away, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're in the heart of Boston. Like, and I told you, man, like in a 10-mile radius, like this is the city of Boston, in a 10-mile radius of Boston, it's 50 colleges. So, I mean, like anywhere you went, you're pretty much running into, it's like a college city.
Yeah, young adults.
Young adults, man. So like, you'll go to restaurants, like, you know, like speakeasy spots and like everyone your age there. And it was just a dope time. Food was amazing. The seafood was off the chain. It's a lot of good spots. Yeah. It's a lot of good spots. I loved Boston once I got into my little rhythm.
Talk about your journey for a second, because it's probably, like, obviously you have got to like the pinnacle. Obviously still things you want to check off your list, but you weren't a highly recruited guy.
Yeah.
When did it, because I played with guys like that too, of like, some guys, when they came to college, I knew what the end goal was immediately. Like, they 4-star, 5-star guy, like, I'm going to the league.
Right.
Some guys, like, obviously want to do their best, but the league isn't, like, a realization up until a certain point. When did the league become real to you? Yeah,
that's a good point, man. I was actually I was that guy. I was the latter guy you're just talking about. Like, the league for me wasn't even a realization. I had it's all part of, like, my testimony. It's actually crazy, and I'll shorten it, but, I came into college and I burned my red shirt like first game. And I didn't know how I really felt about that at the time, but I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really play much the rest of the year. So that was kind of a bummer that I burned it.
Right.
And then, my sophomore year, So my freshman spring going into my sophomore year, or sophomore, whatever you call that. But anyway, we were doing like non-contact drills and I like busted my eye. So I was out all of OTA. We had a new coaching staff. So like new defense, you know how hard it is to not get the reps.
Correct.
So I pretty much sat like my whole sophomore year, right? And then my coach brings me in and he's like, in so many words, like, I'm going to run you out of here. Like, you just don't want it. You don't listen. You're not coachable. Like, I'm going to run you out of here if it's like the last thing I do. And I'm thankful for that moment because it helped me so much, right? And I ended up getting like my stuff together, played corner for the majority of my junior year. Then I got moved to safety my senior year. But I say that because I also had I was having like a dilemma with my relationship with God and football. Like it was an idol in my life. Football was like everything I was doing was geared towards football, and I was just pushing everything else to the side, right? Including my then girlfriend, now wife. Yeah. And I say this because like I went into my senior year knowing that like I was gonna start and I had a good grasp of the scheme, but I said like, Lord, I'm gonna give this up to you. Like I'm gonna finish out my senior year, but I'm gonna once it's all said and done, like I'm not gonna go pro even if I have an opportunity, because it was that much of an idol in my life that I felt like if I did, it would be even worse in the league, and I wanted to show God that like
sometimes it's like the story from the Bible, like of Isaac.
Yeah, like
you kind of put it on the altar.
Yeah,
even like in the back of your mind, God, I don't want to get this up.
You're right,
but if I have to,
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, you see my heart, and most times. It's to test you.
And it wasn't even, and it's crazy, man. Have you seen those memes online, or like the image of like
the guy,
the little girl,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The little teddy bear, right?
Correct.
That's exactly what it was, man. Like, so I ended up saying like, I'm gonna give this season, and I had a really good year. Went into the room with my defense coordinator. He was telling me about like, you know, the opportunities I had, and I was like, oh, I'm not going pro. Yeah. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm calling it. He's like, well, just give it an opportunity. So I made a bunch of ultimatums with God. I was like, all right, if I get invited to the combine, I'll go pro. I got invited. And I was like, that's just coincidence. I was like, all right, if I hit my numbers in the combine, I'll go.
Went crazy.
Hit my numbers, right? And then like the last one was like, all right, well, I was supposed to be like a 5th round pick, the earliest. And I was like, all right, so if I get drafted in the 3rd round, I'll go. And I was the last pick of the 3rd round. And I was just like, dang.
I guess it's my fate to go play in the NFL. Woe is me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hey, I was like, that's crazy. And you know what I'm saying? Like making ultimatums with God, like, I'm going to make sure this happens. Like what's for you is for you always. And so it was just crazy how all those things like came to fruition, because you asked my wife, like I was telling her like, well, all right, where are we going to live? Like what job am I looking for? Like I'm a communications major. Right. So it was a lot of that stuff, man. But yeah, it was crazy. So I didn't think the pro scene was going to be for me at all going into it.
Well, look at God.
I know.
One thing I think you, as a man, but also as a football player, a lot of people do struggle with like putting football as an idol and being very one-tracked. And sometimes, now that like you say, there's gonna be hard days, there's gonna be adversity, and when like your time is done, it's gonna be difficult. But it is more difficult when you haven't even considered that. Like, what advice would you give to like younger guys, even guys in the league? To like basically, how do you? It's not compartmentalize it, because obviously your faith bleeds into everything. But how have you managed to just your faith and to approach playing sports?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I tell young guys all the time, like high school kids, even younger than that, like, man, rest is so important. And I think all the time, like we're so caught up on like, are you out working? You know, you're the other you across the country. Like, are you out working the 5-star? Are you out working the 4-star? And it's like, yeah, man, that's important. But there's only so much, you know, like there's only so much work that you can put in. And in order to maximize, and I'm learning this now, like, you know, even in the league and like getting your body right and all that, like in order to maximize, bro, rest is so important. And obviously rest physically, but like rest mentally too, man. Like, you don't recognize it when you're young, but that'll set you up for so much success, because it'll allow you to be your best self after the rest, right? Like, and whatever the rest looks like for everyone is different. Like I know guys in the league that after the season's over, they can only do a week or 2 weeks, and it's like, man, I got to go train. Like, you know, and that's what works for them. I know guys that like will take after the last snap in the regular season all the way until OTA starts, like that's off for them, right? And then OTA is like their ramp up, and then they go into camp, and then like they're ready to roll. Everyone's different, and there's no like true formula, but I would always say, man, like rest is so important. Like rest mentally, rest physically. Like, man, you got to be able to like take a step back, decompress, recollect yourself, and then go give your best again, right? And so like I found that balance in the league of, okay, like off season is off season. Like I'm not picking up a playbook. I'm not
disconnecting, truly disconnecting.
I'm gonna be with my family. We're gonna hang out. Like I'm gonna be available. I'm gonna be present. And then like when I'm in season, like I'm in season, and that doesn't mean that, God goes to the wayside, or like my relationships with my close friends go to the wayside, or I'm not present as a dad at home or as a husband. Right. But it just means, man, like I'm studying film, I have like, I'm investing in my teammates. Right. And this is just a season of life that we're in for now. For sure. Right. And I want to make sure that I'm honoring that in the right way. And then I'm taking care of that in the right way, because the NFL stands for not for long. Correct. You're not going to be there long. Correct. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you did everything you can to steward that time that you had in the league well. So it's a lot of balanced stuff, man. A lot of it's just figuring out. But I think rest is like, if I had to give anything, rest is the number one thing.
One of the first things you talked about, I think it's a hot topic. And like I said, you're a vet, so I mean, I feel like you have the wisdom to speak to this, and you feel like you know sports. Do you think Tyreek Hill can beat Noah Lyles in a race?
Yeah, it wouldn't even be close.
You think he'd get him in the 60 or the 50? That's what he reduced it to.
The 50?
He wanted to do a 50-yard dash instead of 100 meters. Because maybe he think he can get him off the jump.
Yeah, I know Noah has that top end speed. So I think and listen, 50 yards, I would have to see it. I'm still saying Noah. Like, and I'm not gonna say it's not close, but I'm still saying Noah, and like I would put all my eggs in the basket of Noah winning that race. 100 yards, 50 yards, 100 meters, whatever. Like, I think Noah's winning. He has a gold, bronze.
Whatever.
My man is an Olympian, runner, sprinter. You know what I mean? That's just that type of speed is different.
I can't tell if I think Noah Lyles is smart. That's my take on Noah. I think he's brilliant. I think he's a brilliant marketer.
Nah, he is.
No, because like people, you have to be polarizing if you're not getting the credit you deserve.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, like people, like we talking about him right now. Like it's like he went from being, he felt like he was underappreciated by the public, and now it's like he's doing it all the plays. Like the common fan is like, oh my gosh, you don't know Tyreek Hill. He knows who Tyreek Hill. And if he does it, he's playing. He knows who Tyreek Hill is.
He knows.
And he's playing into it.
You're not gonna hop on what's Unk's podcast?
Shannon Sharp.
And
Nightcap.
You're not hopping on there and talking to Ocho and Unk and not know who Cheetah is. But at the same time, like, it's just like LeVar Ball, right? When he was raising his kids, like saying the most outlandish, bro, it's just marketing.
Right,
like,
it's great.
Everyone's got on First Take.
Right.
Sitting next to Stephen A. talking about.
I'll beat Michael Jordan.
He knows what he's doing, man.
It's
the same
smart.
thing. Noah's doing the same thing, in my opinion.
Look, I salute it. All right, next take. Popular in the football world right now. I want to hear, one, just your overall thoughts.
Yeah.
And maybe you two, or maybe you ain't got enough juice. Would you join the Olympic flag football team if offered the opportunity?
Yeah, in a heartbeat. I think, and I think I saw this recently. I know Micah Parsons does his own thing, and he said he would. Yeah. But I think that's like every athlete's dream, right? Especially like football guy, I feel like, because there was no opportunity,
right, to win a gold medal.
And so, like, yeah, if I get a chance and I get invited, I know it's down the road, but I'm jumping on that opportunity ASAP to be able to be an Olympian. Yeah. You know what I mean? And have a medal and place, like that's you just dream about those types of things.
That would be dope. I feel like it's cool because at some point I thought the stigma was like, oh, the top guys won't do it. But it's starting to be cool. I feel like the top guys are in. People will watch it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because obviously it goes like right around like camp and all those things. So it'll be interesting to see like how the NFL handles that with Goodell and teams and like injuries, and it would be interesting to see how all that's handled. But I just don't think you can pass up on an opportunity, in my opinion, to showcase your talent like especially on that type of scale, like world scare, and it's in LA. Like, I know. That's gonna be dope, man.
I don't know how to say his name. We're gonna put a picture up of him. How you feel about his comments? Do something.
Yeah, I think he's doing exactly what Noah is doing, like we just talked about. I think like we're not talking about a totally different sport.
Correct.
Like flag football is 7-on-7.
I don't want to. Yeah, 7-on-7. What we grew up doing.
And it's not taken away from what they do, because I saw the highlights of him moving, sliding, slide canceling,
pulling
like
Jameis, like shaking like hips and
do it that pregame,
dropping low. I don't know if you saw that clip. That was crazy.
That's wild.
That's wild. Dropping it low in the middle of a game is.
And so there is going to be I agree that there's a learning curve that comes with that.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the best athletes, and like and this is no disrespect to those guys that are playing, right? But like if they were that good. They would be playing. Choose. They would be playing. Correct. Like you're telling me Tyreek Hill, if he's running a fade, post corner
with no contact.
Come on, man. And Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball. CJ Stroud's throwing the ball. Like guys that have like elite arm talent. Right. And he's talking about, the IQ of the game, like reading defenses. Yeah, I mean that's what they do every day, but with contact.
Right.
And again, this is not taken away. I feel like he knows what he's saying and he knows what he's doing, because it's just getting a popularity. But I'm in favor. I think, and I've seen a bunch of people say it, like I think the 2020, what would that be, 8 Pro Bowl should be like the Pro Bowl team versus, and I don't know how they do the AFC, NFC, but it should be the Pro Bowl team versus the USA team. Whoever wins, you go off to go compete for Team USA.
That'd be tough. Mark that down. I was going to ask you this question. How do you feel? I feel like it's gotten better in recent years. We do love a unique sport, because even in basketball, like it's more finesse, so it's still like entertaining. Mm-hmm. But obviously in the past they did it, which is crazy. It was going balls to the wall in a Pro Bowl game. But now, like guys don't want to get hurt. It's more for like a retreat, relaxation. How you feel about the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, so it is more like that, right? Like it's more of a like a congratulations, enjoy the week with your family. And then like when we go out there, it's like entertainment, right? Like I didn't have the chance to do that in 2020, my first Pro Bowl nod, COVID. Yeah. This past season I was there. And that's exactly what it was. Like you get plays every night. Like it's 3rd and something. Oh, let's lock in real quick. Right. And guys are trying, but into the game, guys are trying. But for the most part, man, you're there. It's entertainment, and at least that's the vibe. No one told us like, all right, guys, make sure that you're not doing this or lag off here. Like, nah, guys are just out there, and we get like people want to see Jamar Chase catch a touchdown, and Pat take a pick 6 back to the house. Like if he could jump a route or something. So. That's what it is. It's just entertainment. Fans get excited. All the best players are in one spot. Pictures, autographs, the whole 9.
Not including yourself. Just rank DBs, like just from you as your perspective on top DBs in the game right now.
Corners, safeties.
Let's do corners then safeties.
Okay, corners and then safeties.
I'll get to top 5. Top 5 is a good call. Obviously, it's always more than 5, but it's
top 5 off the top of my head. I'm gonna go Pat. I'm gonna say Sauce. Ramsey.
I know what you're thinking. Don't do it just because you're a teammate.
No. Okay. I'm saying, in my head, I'm thinking about a few different guys. I'm gonna say Jair.
Tough.
I gotta go AJ, and I think too, like guys, he is, but like guys like Marshawn, like obviously, but like him being hurt,
right?
You know what I mean? Like I also feel like. And I know Jair was hurt too a little bit, but there's like you add in stuff like that. But it's hard to do a top 5, but I would go something around there with that makeup.
It's probably a couple in that 5 you can be interchangeable, but that's a solid 5.
Yeah, like Jalen Johnson, what he did in Chicago, what he's doing in Chicago, tough player. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that you could fit in. And L'Jarius Sneed, is a heck of a corner. So
where'd you go for safeties?
You said not including me?
Yeah, put you off to the side. Like,
Okay.
Are you always the guy you gonna include yourself?
Always.
I respect that. Some guys I'm like, bro, if you feel that way, say what you want to say.
Always. And that's like, it's just confident, not trying to be cocky, but like, you're in the business. It's like, I like me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Put yourself in. No,
I like me. I like me. End of the day.
Include it. So give me 4.
I'm putting me at 1, but if we're taking me out of this, my top 5, I like, and I've said this in multiple podcasts. I think Jesse is
like that.
Like if I'm putting my top 5, taking myself out, I think Jesse has been one of my favorites for a while. And I've already knew about him, Wake Forest, ACC.
Correct.
So I already known about him. But I like Jesse. I would go Minka. I would go Derwin. I would go Tyron. And the thing about Tyron too is like Tyron has never left my top 5 since I got in the league. Like he's just been that consistent, you know? Like so I put him at like 4, but like he's been 1 through 5 in my top 5. I mean, he's in year 13.
Yeah, something crazy.
And he's on like every list. He's on every. I mean, Tyron's just like hands down one of the best. And another guy that I feel like don't get the credit he deserves and has been doing it at a high level, man, is Quandre Diggs. That's my 5th. I feel like
yeah, one more light skin I thought you were gonna throw in there. My boy K-Ham doing his thing.
Oh yeah, nah, he is. Oh, right now, dang, I did forget Kyle, huh? I got to put Kyle in my top 5.
I think, bro, light skins might be taking over safety position because it's like 4 y'all.
I do got to put Kyle in my top 5. I was really going so like that list right there has been like the longevity, I guess, like multiple years.
Right.
If we're going strictly top, Kyle is definitely. I had to put him like 1 or 2, so it would be like Kyle, Jesse, Kyle. And then the rest of that list.
Right.
So Nino 6, 5, 4, whatever that is. But yeah, Kyle has to be. I was thinking about it from a longevity standpoint. But Kyle, hands down. What he did last year was crazy.
Shout out to the boy. All right, last one for you, bro. Thank you for the time. It's been great.
Nah, I appreciate you, man.
Great
it's
energy,
been fun.
You know what I'm saying? Good people. If you could write your script for the Falcons and then for yourself, like what do you see for the future?
Write the script for the Falcons and then for myself. I've never been the one to like promise, but I will say like goal wise, and you heard a little bit of it earlier, like my goal when I'm manifesting and speaking into existence, right? Like writing it down, man, I'm winning the South and NFC champs. Like that is, but we gotta be able to win the South first. So like manifesting, man, gotta go win the NFC South. Give yourself a chance, home playoff game. Like that's like number 1. And then for myself, man, it's just to reestablish, I think, once you hit a certain age and, you know, you get let go from a team, there's like, you know, narratives start creeping in. He can't do this. He can't do that. Does he still have it? Can he still do this? And so, for me, man, I'm excited. It's just another, it's just another hurdle. You know what I mean? I want it that way. I don't want people to come in and say, oh, we got X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, maybe Falcons fans would say that, but, every year you got to earn it, right? And this year's no different. So I can't wait, man. I'm excited to prove everybody wrong all over again. Just add another block to my resume.
Amen. Well, it's been great. You made this far. Do all the things, like, comment, subscribe, share something, show some love. It's been the Go Farm Show by the players for the people. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.